Hi, everyone. We are having a pair programming session for the package group where we are going to hopefully develop an end-to-end test to the Ruby Gems package manager. We're briefly going to go through some setup details. I actually prepared a bit of a checklist here so we make sure that we are set up for success.
Cool.
I'll start by just sharing my own screen. If you don't mind, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've sent this link, the package end-to-end testing guide previously. I don't know if you had the chance to see it.
Yeah, I was able to read through that.
Okay. This is one of the moments where the share. Are you able to actually see the documentation?
I just see the list, the pairing with Steve list.
Yeah, this is the thing of having the multiple screens.
Oh, right. There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay. So I think the best way to start this usually is to just make sure that your JDK is able to run this end-to-end tests.
Okay.
And to do so, I would like to make sure that we have a few things, such as your JDK is able to have a host name mapped to the loopback interface.
I do have that.
Yep, that's great because we need to set up GitLab runner in the test.
Okay.
And this is one of the reasons why we need this this to be done.
I do know my runner configuration has been like iffy with GDK. I haven't used it in a while, so we'll see if it works.
No, because the magic here is that the test will set up the runner for you, but it
Oh.
needs to have this this loopback interface, and the host name of your JDK has to be not localhost 3000. So we also have to have some environment variables in order to set up, in order to run this test command. And this is basically the test command right here, the most important one, just to make sure that we can run one of the tests and that everything is correctly set up. So I'll just do it. I'll just show it in mine, how it looks like, and then maybe you could try in yours, and
Sure.
we'll take it from there. So let me share my VS Code. And I think we can run Conan, the Conan test, or any preference?
Okay. No, that one works. I was browsing through a few of them, so I started to look at that one.
So first of all, where are they? They are, I'm going to just show it from scratch. So they are under in QA. So GitLab QA, and then under QA, there is another QA folder here. And under that, it's, sorry, I just had many things open here. Under that, there is inspects features. It's a browser UI test running. So it's also within the package folder. Basically, this is in the documentation, but it's just to also guide you there. Conan repository spec. So this is one of the tests we have for the package managers. We will go briefly over this one just for an example. And also feel free to stop me whenever you have questions. I'm just trying to speed up. So you navigate to the GitLab folder, yeah, and then within the GitLab folder, you navigate to the QA folder. And the command, so copying the command from the documentation, the command would be this one. Okay. Where here we would add the path to this particular test. So Conan repository spec. The
Okay.
JDK test is basically my host name for my JDK. I'm not sure if you named yours exactly JDK test, but this should be it. One more note that I would like to add is that I have actually environment variables set up, and this is actually important because they allow you to actually see the test running. Sometimes that's useful. So for example, Chrome headless is set to false. So this means that you can see the test running. QA debug means that you can see the logs. So each action and interaction in the browser is being logged, and it's easier for for finding issues. This is an enterprise license. I'm not sure if you have it already for your JDK setup.
I think I already have one. Although I think I did recently reset my database, so it might not actually be there right now. But I have one.
I think for the tests we're going to run, we don't necessarily need this license because we're not running any premium features. Right. So it should be fine. This tunnel SSH, this is for another stuff, not needed for ours. And you can save some time by having also GitLab admin username set to root and the admin password set to the usual JDK root seeded password. So this is no big secret. So once again, the QA debug set to true, Chrome headless set to false, the GitLab admin username root, and the GitLab admin password as well. This is I'm using the Z shell, so just it's in a ZSHM file just to as an environment variable file. Cool. Having this set up and sourced is just back to the command. Just auto-completing here. Yeah. Back to this command and back to the test, which was Conan, we were going to run. And hopefully the test passes, but just want to see that the setup is actually correct. So if you could follow this part and just to make sure that you can also run it in your machine, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll get that going.
I'll be running on mine as well. Actually, it doesn't show it's pointless because I would have to share my automated browser window. Let me see if I can even show that. And then, yeah, it is running.
So I missed, you just opened your browser and or did it automatically open it for you?
It automatically launches, yeah, from browser. Yeah. So I think one of the approaches I usually take for adding package manager tests is I start with the documentation, right? It is also a test to the documentation itself and see if there's something missing or not clear. So basically for the Conan test, I went to the Conan documentation in docs, and I particularly used the CI/CD method to publish the Conan package and to install. So it was really about following the documentation that was there.
Sure.
I know that we have already some documentation for Ruby gems, right?
Yep, we do.
Yeah. So we could just base on that. So yeah, right now there is a CI job, which is taking care of the publishing and the installation of this package. It's going to verify if it's existing, it has the right version, and it deletes the package in the end. So we don't get these packages accumulated in our either our JDK or in some staging environment, some environment which is not destructible. So I was able to run it on my machine. Were you successful in your side? Or...
I am getting it started.
Okay.
I just need to do, I guess I can share what I'm going through if you want, or we can continue. It doesn't make a huge difference at the moment. I'm just, I'm in the QA folder. I need to do a bundle install before I can run the tests. Will I need the username and password environment variables to run that Conan test?
I think you don't necessarily need them. I'm not entirely sure right now, because actually, since they are the existing seeded credentials, unless you have something different set up for your own JDK.
And then I need the whole GDK running, right? In order to run the test.
Yeah, JDK needs to be up and running. Yeah, so cool. I guess we should have started from there.
Yeah, I'm used to the usual, like the backend tests. You just need Postgres and Redis and GitLab, and then you can run RSpec. So I'll start
that was just an assumption. Yeah, JDK needs to be running because the tests basically go and target the instance. I've shared here some diagrams which can help also understand how we are doing this end-to-end testing, which basically, so we have a GitLab QA gem. Are you able to see the drawing?
Mm-hmm.
We have the GitLab QA gem, and this is basically a project that this is our tool to use for end-to-end testing. And basically what this gem does is it spins up the containers that are needed to run the tests, meaning the container which has a GitLab instance, the container which has a runner, the container which has, I don't know, a Jira server, depends on what's the test about. So it's just an orchestration of the test and the components of the test. And this is mainly or particularly used in the CI, where we need to build this GitLab instance and set it up, and then have it tested. So basically, when we are running it with the GDK, we have the GitLab QA building the GitLab QA image, which then is going to target your GitLab instance and run the tests against this instance. But in the CI, what's happening, it's more like the GitLab QA is going to spin up the QA image, which is going to be target another container, which is the GitLab instance. And the complexity of the scenarios, there are several. Depends on what we want to build, right? I would like to, I think this is in documentation linked in the issue, but it's also, I would like to link this particular architecture because it can get handy once things get more complex and we need more different components for our tests. But since we're just going to be using the package registry, and Ruby gems. It's in GitLab. We don't need like a specific external service to be spin up. There's no need for that. We just need our this scenario here.
Okay.
If you have questions, feel free to stop me. Yeah.
No, that'll make sense. I am getting an error running my test. Let me see what it says here. Selenium WebDriver. This version of Chrome driver only supports Chrome 85.
Okay.
Let's see what version of Chrome I have.
Yeah. This one comes out from time to time when there is some Chrome update.
Sure.
When I'm updating my browser as well.
Yeah, it looks like I have to update my browser, but I can check what version I'm currently on to here.
I'm going to open the Ruby gems documentation just so we could briefly go through it, just to understand. Yeah. In the meantime.
Okay, I just restarted. Oh, now I'm on version 90, so I'm way ahead now. Let's see if that helps. Actually, it looks like it's the same error. I wonder if I have to downgrade to 85.
It's it's too much ahead, or?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, well, the error says Chrome version 85, and I'm on Chrome version 90. So I might have to figure out how to.
We probably also have to update then our Chrome driver for this.
What's that?
We probably also have to update this in the QA project, just to keep up the driver with the correct browser update as well.
Oh, sure.
Something that we have to do from time to time. Okay, in the meantime, I'm checking here the documentation for the Ruby gems registry. It's behind a feature flag. And okay. I think we might be missing something here in the CI/CD.
Oh, yeah, that is incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I ever actually created a package with CI/CD. So yeah, those docs just got published without realizing that.
Yeah,
but we can figure that out and update the docs too while we're at it, probably.
No problem. We are in a low level of shame here, and yeah. I this is what I actually like when I go through the docs. I get to see, okay, is there something missing, and yeah, now we just found something, so this is positive. Is it managed from your side, the Chrome issue?
It looks like I have to download an old version of Chrome, maybe, unless we can just update the driver, which might be, I don't know which one's going to be easier.
I basically never updated the driver myself. I just, but we could technically
If you go to your Chrome and you do like about Chrome, what version are you on there? Oh, you're on 90 as well.
I'm on 90 as well.
I wonder if there's something else I need to update in the QA folder. Like I've run bundle install. Would there be anything else I would need to do?
Or not really. Can I see, would you be able to share your screen so I could
let me switch over to mine here.
Stop sharing.
So here is the error. I'll make that a little bigger for
you. Right.
And so you can see it attempts to open Chrome a few times, and then it just shows that this driver only supports Chrome 85.
Okay. Have you checked what is the current Chrome version you have?
So for me, I'm running.
Okay, you have 90, such as just like me. And then if you go in the terminal and you do Chrome driver -- version.
Is it?
I think it's all together. Chrome driver.
Oh, 85. So maybe I need to update Chrome driver.
Yeah, I have Chrome driver 89, so that would do.
Let's see, how do we update Chrome driver?
Maybe you just have to download it manually.
I wonder if this is installed via, I don't remember when or how I installed the Chrome driver.
I have it also with, yeah, there is like brew.
It might be through Homebrew here. I just forget it's upgrade, I think. I'll let that run for a second. But yeah, I think we were looking through the Ruby gems docs.
Yeah, I do have a question though when I'm just checking them. This is we basically do we have the delete via the UI implemented? Because I think, as you mentioned here, the installation is done via, you can download the gem files from the UI or using the API. Is it also possible to delete this package via the UI?
Through the UI, yeah.
Okay, I haven't been exploring this yet, so
yeah, the part that's not currently supported is like you can't say gem install or bundle install and have it install. But we can see it in the UI and test that. We can see it and delete it from there.
And this is a project endpoint?
Yes, this is all at the project level.
All right, so it's project endpoint. And well, I think usually the very basic of tests, it's just doing the publishing and then delete it. So we could do the installation, but maybe we could actually split this down to just the very basic as of publishing and then seeing if it works. Oh yeah, this one. I think you have to go to the privacy settings in your Mac.
Oh, and allow it.
To allow the, yeah.
I always forget where that stuff is. There it is. And this is just for apps, probably.
Oh, it's in general. Yeah, allow anyway.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
I think now it should be fine. Just, yeah.
Cool. All
Awesome.
right. So let's see now. We should be able to run that test.
Okay.
Hey,
Awesome.
there we go. Oh, I probably do need the username, don't I?
It's right. It's probably trying to log in and having a problem. Because yeah, it's just, oh,
it made
okay.
it. I guess it just
it was just
took a second. I mean, it might have been that my GDK, because I just spun it up, it was going a little slow.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so I think we're just gonna let it run and then just probably briefly go through the tests logic, because it's just all the others are pretty much structured in a similar way. And
okay.
And I think in the end, if you have been, which you have, doing the feature tests or system tests or integration tests, I think we have many names for those. Okay, we're having a problem here. The first one was, oh, we're having a selector issue. Have you updated JDK recently, or?
Yeah, I think I updated it last week.
Okay. And the second error is?
Has no runners with tags.
Yeah, it has, yeah, because basically it was trying to remove something that has failed to create. I would suggest, this is just basically sometimes what I do is I would suggest to run one more time and just to make sure it's not something flaky.
Sure.
And leave it running. And sometimes if there are these issues, it can be also that there was a known issue in the test. And so it's also worth to just do JDK update and try to run the latest version, because there might be some fix in the meanwhile.
Okay. Cool. While that's going, should we jump into looking at some of this, or?
Yeah, let's jump in. So we are in the Conan repository spec.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so we are basically using our spec and Capybara. So some of these things might be familiar to you already. They are just wrapped around various page objects. Are you familiar with the page object model, or?
I am not.
Okay. So here in this test, when we are starting to prepare the test, we create certain things that are necessary, such as the project where the package is going to be stored. As you see there, the first let just creates this project resource. We will later go and see what does resource mean. But in just for the sake of simplicity now, basically it creates a project which has the project name of Conan package project. It creates a package as a resource as well. So it doesn't publishes or pushes, it's just to create the package and give it a name and associate it to which project is it going to go. It creates a runner. We need a runner as well. So we give it a name. We give it some tags to run just on that project, and it's a Docker runner, and it's associated to this project. So this too is a resource, right?
So is the this package here, is that creating like, this is just creating an object, but it's not creating like the actual database stored package?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. This is just an abstraction, so to speak. And then afterwards we have some things that we need, such the GitLab address with the port, because we basically need this to when we are setting up the URIs that are needed for the GitLab CI YAML file to work. We will see it a little bit below how it works. And then we have the after block, which is basically what to do after the test is run. And basically this is where we are doing the removal of the resources, such as the runner and the package. Cool. Basically, we have this package.remove via API for the cases where, imagine that the test actually fails to delete the package via the UI. And what this does is just basically going through the UI and say, hey, if this is still there, just go ahead and send a delete to this endpoint. Cool. For this package.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a test that publishes, installs, and deletes the current package, and just tries to first to log in as a user, and then it's going to commit to the repository of the project we have created, and within that commit there is a file which is the GitLab CI YAML. So basically we just have the YAML fixture here right in the code, so we can see, okay, what are we adding, and within this GitLab CI YAML is basically the instructions that that are in the documentation for uploading, for publishing the package, right?
Right. Okay.
So this probably is familiar to you.
Yeah, that's cool. You just can create the file right there in the project.
Yeah. So if we were, so this adds this GitLab CI file to the repository. And as you can see here, basically those GitLab address with port variables, a package.name, these are just variables to, follow the procedures that are in the documentation for setting the remote, for
right.
As you are familiar with. And last, we have a tag. So we associate this job to the runner that we have created. And the reason is that some developers were actually not creating the runner because they were having the runner already associated in their JDK. But the thing is that this test has to run in the CI, and the CI doesn't have the runners associated. It just starts from completely scratch. So it needs to create the GitLab instance and the runner, and then associate one with the other. So this is why we are creating the runner from scratch.
Cool.
Okay, and then yeah, basically what we're going to do is just going to visit the latest pipeline. So we're going to try to go to this job that is running this script and click on it. As you see, pipeline click job, right? It's going to click on it. This is all via the UI, right?
Where is this test? Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, that's the name of the job. Cool.
And then it's going to be waiting for this job to be successful and for the package to actually be uploaded.
Cool.
Then it's going to go also via the UI to the package link. This is basically the side menu where we have package registry. And it's going to try to verify that this package exists. It's indexed. As you see, page project packages index. it's going to try to find that package.name and click on it. Right, then once it's on this detailed UI view of the package, it's going to click delete, and then it's going to go back and see, all right, this package has been deleted successfully.
Okay.
And we don't have this in the listed, this package name.
Cool. And so like another thing that we could possibly check for then is like when we're on the show, we could see like if there's specific files if we wanted that we're showing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This could also be another way. I would just, if you let me, just for brevity, I will share my screen as well. No, because either it's mine or yours.
Yeah, I'll stop real quick.
And I will just show you how is this resource and this page object working. So this is just the script of the test, but what it actually is implementing, it's behind those objects. So let me share. Okay. Actually, I have this very zoomed. I hope can you see?
Yeah, I can see fine. You can probably even zoom out if you want.
Well lately. Okay, so yeah, as I was telling you, there is these resources, and basically, I think from the beginning, while maybe not so familiar with it, it's better to just take an example and try to tweak it and see and start to understand instead of perhaps creating those new resources. But with the with new UI interactions, it's necessary to add those page objects. So basically, this is modeling the resource of a project, and this resource lives in this, you see, still in the QA folder. This resource is living here, and there is the project resource. There are several resources, as you can see: pipeline, merge request, label, issue. So we are modeling the GitLab objects as resources. And this is how a resource looks like. So this takes the project, for example, the project API, and models this project class, such as the necessary things like ID, name, the runner token for this project, the template that this project is going to have, which group it belongs to, what's their namespace, and so on. And this is where it is. So when a project is created, it goes through this method called fabricate. And fabricate is basically the recipe while using the UI or the API to create this resource.
Okay, so it's specifically fabricate should be like create this actual project using the UI, or fabricate via API is create a project using the API.
Exactly. So the same applies to remove via API. So this means that we're going to go through the API and send a delete to remove this object.
Cool.
So
nothing throughout all of these tests, nothing should be getting like created programmatically ever, if that makes sense. Like we would never do like project.new or project.create.
No. We are really trying to make it through either the UI or the browser, because for project.new, we already have the other level of the tests calling for it. So this has a bit of a, it takes longer to create these entities. So these tests do run for longer, but we are trying to, either use just these two methods.
Cool.
Back to our tests in here. So we saw this resource project. We say, hey, we need to create this. And we're fabricating it via the API because just for sake of making it faster, so we don't have to see it going through the UI and actually creating this project. It's just going to go in the background and create this project with this name. Here, the resource package, I need to show it to you. The resource package also, well, it was just created to, this is not like probably the best resource to show, because it was just created to be removed, in the sense of just basically to have a mechanism of removal of the package in case the UI fails.
Right. Yeah, because packages aren't created via the API or through it's
Exactly.
created using the commands that are going to be called in the script.
Exactly. That's really the point.
Cool.
Right. The runner as well, I think it of course can get more complicated than that, but I think now for the first pass, I think you're understanding that this also goes and creates the runner. And if, you just need to pass a name, a tag for your project. Then the rest, after, I think it's very familiar to what you might have seen in some other tests, and using it and using describe as well. This is something that we've been using already in other tests.
It's just RSpec.
So the thing is that this test basically just does a sequence of steps. It's not so encapsulated. It's just a flow of tests like a user would do, so to speak. So the user goes and logs in, and this resource again, we can show you just for a minute. It's modeling as well. I think you're understanding a bit the logic behind the resource.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like the resource in terms of how a user would interact with this thing through the UI or through the API. It's not actually like necessarily thinking of the object in terms of, how it's stored in the code or database. It's more of, if you want to interact with pipelines, then you use the resource.
Right.
I was curious with the tests, like I know not all of them run automatically when you push a normal MR. Will these run automatically, like if we create a new test for the Ruby gems, will it run automatically when we push it, or will we have to still go and manually kick it off in the pipeline?
No, it would actually run automatically.
Cool.
It's within the package and QA job. I could also show you, because it's a bit it's a long, it just takes, of course, long, because we are building the GitLab instance and we run a full set of tests, not only that test, it's a full set of QA end-to-end tests. But I could show you where they would be running if you would like.
I think I know where that is. It was more of a whether or not the system was smart enough to know that when you push a QA test, should it run the QA test, or do we have to still manually go start the QA tests?
Yeah.
Cool.
So another import. So we got the resource concept. And another important concept is the page here, as we see this one, right? So what a page is, the page will also be found, as you see here, okay, this one was the resource. Yeah, the page is also here. So within page, pages are basically the building blocks of the UI, right? Like they are modeling how a page looks like, which elements are in this page, and how can we interact with this page, and just encapsulates the elements in such way. Just to show you this particular one. So it's within page, project, pipeline, show. Okay. Yeah. And so for this page, it needs to, which components are used here are, it maps this views, as you see here, this .view files, which are basically the UI, and maps these views with elements here, which are selectors. Are you familiar with the concept of selectors?
Yes.
Right. So if I'm going to just try to find the selector, pipeline header. It's not, there's lots. There yet. I'm going to just find this view. This one. Oh, what am I doing? Right. And this is the view component for the other CI. And within this component, you will see the pipeline. Yeah, there you go. So this is something that we are adding. In this case was Miguel, which is in the front-end team in CI. So he added the selector, and basically it's just adding an ID to be able to interact with the UI, and we are gluing the view with the selector when we are doing this block here.
Is there any rules or restrictions around adding the data selector? Like, is there places we shouldn't add it at all, or circumstances where we should, do it in certain ways?
We don't have restrictions in where to add it. Well, we are adding this in the UI file, so view.view or .erb. Sure. So just, I think there is a convention on how these actually are looking like, such as having the name underscore. If it would be a button, would be blue underscore button. Okay. Or if it would be, there is a style guide for that. I would worry only in the code review. Of course, this just comes with, adding and experience and just checking the style guide as well.
And usually these get added. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say, usually these would get added when you're creating these QA tests. Yeah. Wouldn't try to necessarily preemptively add a bunch of these.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just showing you the way that we are gluing it. It's just this view block. You create a view block, you associate the view file with the elements. Some of them have more than one data QA selector there. And yeah, this is just where they get listed. And then later in this file, you define how are we going to interact with them. So, for example, as job is just is just basically using pure, RSpec capybara stuff. Like, hey, is this selector visible and doesn't have this job name?
Cool.
Yep. I think probably you're more familiar with this part, because this is some of these things we actually use, but we are maybe using CSS selectors in the feature tests, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's stuff. It looks like some of those are probably wrappers around capybara, or
Yep.
some of them might be capybara. I don't actually do a ton of the capybara stuff.
Yeah.
So I always forget. But yeah, it looks like very familiar.
Right. So basically, this tells you, okay, which elements are in this page and how do you go about interacting with them. Like you can, so each UI action that this page has, it's encapsulated with these methods. So be it the queries, like, does it have a job, or I wanted to or click on the job with a specific job name as well, or verify, find the child pipeline. So every action that you would be doing in this page is encapsulated here. And in the test, you just basically write the script that you would be doing on that page.
Right.
So this click job is defined in the other file, in the page file for this, right?
Makes sense.
Making sense? Cool.
Yep, and then we go to the job page and we look for it to be successful. I'm guessing that be successful is a wrapper around something.
Yeah, exactly. Just through curiosity. Let's check be successful. Actually, it's part of a module, this component module. Can be a bit complex, given that this has been growing and growing. And maybe, it could be a little bit hard to find things around, but as long as you get just the logic of how things are structured, it would get easier. So where is it's basically something like this.
Right.
Just going to try to check if the CI badge is going to say success or passed or complete.
Cool.
And so this is just the underworks of the tests, but script-wise,
yeah, we don't have to worry too much about that as long as we find the right method.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point. The same logic, same logic here. This is another page that has basically, it has a matcher trying to see if there's this package name, and it's going to click on it. Do you have any questions so far? I've been a little bit faster, but it's just trying to make most of our time.
Oh yeah, this is great. I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, so I guess the best way to start is just basically, is just probably copy something like this test, like the overall structure around it.
Right, a lot of it will probably be similar.
Because I think it may need very similar. It may have a very similar structure, and most importantly, actually, where we are doing the real testing is just writing the script.
It's really just the script.
Yeah, this is where you actually, do it as the user.
Okay. It looks like I'll probably have to do some debugging with my local setup. I'm still getting the failures. So I can do the code, but I probably won't be able to run it. Or if we want to do it on your side, that's fine too.
You know, I think just for us to be within time, what we could do is I would structure the outline of the test, the Ruby test, and I would push the branch, and then we could collaborate like that. So,
Okay.
you know, when you have the JDK instance running and that test passing, just to make sure that it's okay. And then we go back and forth. Like, we don't have to send a final version to it. We just, you know, assign to me, and I will give feedback as it goes.
That sounds good.
That sounds good. Okay, so yeah, let's go and create the test. And it's going to be here in package. Saying, call it Ruby gems spec.
I do think we've been on most of the files, Ruby gems, we've been doing it as a single word.
Yeah, actually that makes sense.
Yeah.
Better to correct this now. Name. It's always together, actually.
Yeah, wouldn't probably make a huge difference, but just for consistency.
Yeah. Right, I'm just going to just copy this and just leave it structured.
Cool. Okay, so then maybe we'll replace everything that says Conan with Ruby gems.
I'll take this out just for it publishes. We're going to, so what are we going to test? We're going to test the publishing.
We're going to say it publishes and deletes a Ruby gem.
Ruby gem. Test case link. Don't worry about it. They just basically, we have these links. We create issues where the status of the test is updated there. So this is for us to be tracking.
And is that the one that we linked, or is that going to be a new issue? I don't know. I thought
we have to actually create the issue manually and add the link here, but I'll help you out with that as well.
Well, I thought you might have pinged me in one. Here, I'll link it in the chat. Yeah.
Right. Just removing the logic here. And I'm going to call this Ruby gems repository gem, actually.
Cool.
Well, this is going to be maintaining the same. You need the project anyways to be created, right? So Ruby gems, just gonna give it a different name if we have to. Debug. We are able to delete this package via the API. Is it?
Yeah, we can delete the package through the API.
Do we have to give it a specific format for the name?
Nothing in particular, no.
Okay, these are just, you know, components that have to be necessary.
Right.
I'm not sure if we need
runner will probably be the same.
Would we need the GitLab address report for our script? Yeah, we probably do.
Yeah, I think we'll need that with, if you look at the Ruby gems docs, when we authenticate via CI or whatever, we'll need that address.
Right. Okay. Cement. So this one plus this one. You know, one of the things that I liked, I'm not sure if I'm having a proper braces
right
in extension, but I used to like in when I was using RubyMine, it would help me a bit more with the closing of ends. Right. I'll.
Yeah, I think you might just have, well,
do I have it?
Looking at the top was indented differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you might just have one too many.
Yeah.
And then there's just some indentation problems at the bottom.
Yeah, I have. Because it was not loaded. Not sure.
Or is there too many? If you get rid of line 44, does that fix that?
No. Okay, I'll auto-indent this in a bit, just for before I push the branch. Don't worry. Yeah, afterwards we're going to be removing the runner, removing the package. We could also remove the project, by the way, if
oh sure.
We remove it via the API. And this part it will be very similar to the other test, meaning that login.
Makes sense.
And you will add this to your project and push the package. But ideally, the project itself should be realistic, right?
Yeah, like for Ruby gems, we'll probably need, what is it, the gem spec file to be able to build the gem.
Exactly. But I'm thinking like sometimes, I've used in some of the other package managers templates of projects. I'm not sure if we have one in GitLab for a gem.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we had one, but yeah.
I'm just gonna go and quickly check this.
Yeah.
Just let me share it as well. Templates. Parse and template, just go and try to yeah, there's several like Hotman. Do you see something with Ruby here? Rails. Does it have a gem file? So what I tend to do, I'm just gonna show you. Can you see it, or was it sharing?
I just see the code editor.
Ah, okay. Because I was just I thought I was sharing with you the.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is, you see, this is one of the templates. I was here in this page where they have project templates.
Oh yeah, we have a Rails
And
template.
there was something with Rails, and sometimes I just try to look at this project and try to see if that could be a gem itself, so it's like a bit more realistic.
It looks like this one isn't set up to be published as a gem.
No, this is a yes. Well, I'll have to also check. But So the logic would be that not only you would be adding the GitLab file, you at least need to have that the file for the gem.
Right.
So instead of adding one, you can add two files within the same using the same block.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think that is just a very good way to start, and probably just have a bit of back and forth and feedback.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Or
yeah, I think I definitely have enough to start here, and I'll be able to write up a test at least, and then hopefully be able to run it soon.
important. Do you have the feature flagged enabled in your JDK? I assume, right?
I mean, I can easily enable it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we need to do that? I mean, because if it's not enabled when the test runs, you know, once we push it, do we have to add that somewhere in the test or anything?
Yeah, we do. And programmatically, I'll show you the documentation. I'll send you the documentation. It's just like a line saying feature. You know, you can have a block here. Just before the after, you can have a before block where you could feature. I'm not sure exactly what's the syntax. Feature enable, and then have the name of the flag, and then in the after block, you would do something like feature disable.
Okay.
So it's just for the scope of the project.
Makes sense.
You also have levels of features, like you can have the feature enable for just this project. You can have the feature enable for the group, or you can have the feature enable for the instance. But it's just explained there in the docs. I think it's straightforward there.
Yeah, I think it's just feature enable, like what you have there.
Cool. Yeah, either way, I will link them in the MR for this, where we can collaborate.
Great.
Okay, I think we are also at time. And we have to be a little bit brief. I'm sorry if I were just running to it. Any questions? Just yeah, comment in the MR or opinions. Would be super glad to help.
Okay. Yeah, I will create an MR and ping you in it, and yeah, hopefully we can go from there and see how it goes.
I wonder if I could help you with the error. If you still get stuck, just ping me with the error.
Okay.
I'll try to, because sometimes we have, it can be something that I've seen in my own instance, and
sure,
just would be faster.
Yeah, I know my GDK is probably a little bit all over the place right now, so it might just be how I'm configured, but we'll see. I'll ping you if I keep seeing a specific error. Yeah, this is awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to go through this with me.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Likewise, really. Yeah, I'll stop the share, and I think we can stop our recording as well.
Yep, stop the recording.